In my life, I have experienced many examples of enculturation, as it is a part of growing up. One of the most important examples to me is my parents teaching me American values and the importance of being patriotic. Both my mother and my father made it a goal to teach me and my brother just how lucky we are to be living in the country that we do. Another important example of enculturation in my life is the passing down of religious values and traditions. This passing down can be contributed to both my parents and my grandparents, who were heavily involved in the church. Although I have formed my own opinions on religion, the majority of the morals that I learned from it still guide my life today.
Enculturation is the process of learning about a culture through observations of language, behaviors, and values. My family has strongly influenced enculturation in my life in many ways. One, for instance, is religion. I come from a Christian household, therefore, I have also accepted Christianity as my religion. Another one is a behavior. So, for instance, I don't cook on Fridays, and that's because growing up, I seen that my grandmother would cook Monday through Thursdays, and Fridays would be her rest day. So I do the same things. I observed that behavior growing up, and it just sort of carried on into my adulthood.
Hi everyone. So our word was enculturation. But what exactly is enculturation? The definition for the word is the process by which an individual learns the traditional content of a culture and assimilates its practices and values. This comes from experience, observation, and instruction. Um, we are basically what we are because of enculturation. We grow, we adapt, we see things how they're done as we're growing up, and then that's how we do things. A couple of examples that I do have for like almost everybody, like I feel like it pertains to most people, would be grocery shopping. Like no one's like, oh, this is how you grocery shop. You just kind of know because you watch your parents do it. Um, Also, when we're little, we're taught how to eat with a fork and spoon because in our culture, in American culture, we use a fork and a spoon. Different cultures, like sometimes they use their fingers to eat certain stuff that normally we would be like, why are you using your fingers? But that's just how we were raised. That's our culture, and that's what was basically embedded in us, and we practice, and that's what we know. Also, one that like pertains to me, my daily life, like something that I see, something I went through when I was growing up, would definitely be, I'm a daycare teacher, so I always am telling my kids, I'm like, what do you say? If they're asking me something, I'm like, so what do you say after that? Please. And as we were growing up, our parents were always like, so what do you say next? What are you going to say? Say thank you, say please. So that's embedded in us as we're growing up. That's enculturation. They're telling us basically how we have to respond to certain situations.
Enculturation is a learned behavior based off observation. My enculturation was my parents bestowing Christian faith upon me because I grew up in the church every Sunday. My enculturation was my learned behavior that we go to church every Sunday. And a woman is supposed to wear a dress. I was taught to wear a dress and a skirt, no pants, unless I'm in choir rehearsal. I was also taught how to cook. I learned how to cook through my aunt and my mom's teaching. Later in this video, you will see me teaching my little sister how to apply lip liner to her lips, which she failed. But y'all pray for her. All right.
Hey, my name is Kennedy Edmonds. I am in Group 2, and our word was enculturation. The dictionary definition for enculturation is a gradual acquisition of a characteristics and norms of a culture or group by a person, another culture, etc., which is basically, in simpler terms, is the process of learning a culture through observation. It is a process that's usually begins when someone familiarized with their culture, which happens sometime after birth with the development of self-awareness. You just begin to learn and execute cultural traits. So, for example, learning slang from your family and friends, hearing them discuss with each other. Another one is learning how to carry yourself based off of, the morals and values your parents taught you. And it's also learning social cues and how to act with certain groups of friends or people.
My name is Davion Walker, and my group's word was enculturation. Enculturation is the gradual acquisition of the characteristics and norms of a culture or group of people by another culture. To me, enculturation is important because that's how people become who they are and learn other things. My earliest encounter with enculturation was my grandmother dragging me to church every weekend.